So, Brian, I saw Jon Jones out and about in Arizona during some of these protests.
I think it's in Albuquerque.
Oh, Albuquerque?
Yeah.
Okay. Peacefully. I knew it was one of the A's.
Yeah.
Listen, my mouth, it's like things aren't coming out right today.
I understand. Trust me.
You know, Dem, Dern, Arizona, Albuquerque, yes. Ivanov, my mind's just like, it's not all there.
It's totally okay.
So, I saw him peacefully taking spray paint cans away from would-be graffiti vandals.
He didn't get a lot of resistance, did he?
No. I wonder if they knew who he was.
I don't know. They knew enough to give him
6'4" and just imposing
and walking up on me.
Right,
like zero fear.
Give me those. But you know what? I did like whether it was he said it or someone with him. That's not the way to do it.
That's what he said. That's exactly what he said.
You know what? I like that.
I loved it.
I like that because see, that's getting out there off your couch, participating, but also knowing the right way to try to have an impact.
Yep. And I think his leadership is actually that leadership from him is more important than a lot of what we're hearing from people who are stoking the fire.
Right. So is he still UFC champion?
He's saying that he's not, man. So here's what he said. He has ESPN, we'll talk about this in the championship round, right? But there's a lot of layers beyond this. So ESPN, Reyes versus Jan Blachowicz for the UFC light heavyweight championship of the world. As of right now, I got nothing really gained to fight either of them. Let me know if you guys want to set up a date in 2021 for that Izzy fight. Hopefully, and Izzy, he's talking about Israel Adesanya. Hopefully, you guys will be willing to pay by then. So, but that's not the end of it. It went all the way off the rails after that. So, all right, we got to go through this Jon Jones thing, and it's a lot. So I'm gonna fly through it because it's a lot.
You go.
So basically, he's saying he's very upset because this whole issue started. It's basically a beef between him and Dana White. He wanted to fight Ngannou, and he asked for an indeterminate amount of money. We don't know how much it was. He's saying one thing. Dana White comes out and says he asked for $30 million. He wants to get paid like he's Deontay Wilder. And he was like Dana White said a comment that really, to me, was kind of exposed you a little bit. He says, being the pound for pound greatest doesn't mean you're worth $30 million.
No, why did it expose him?
Because, in my opinion, it makes, and this is just my personal opinion. I am one of those, I guess, purists.
I was just going to say that
because I want the title. I would love for there to be a clause in contracts that says the champion has to make $1 more, at least $1 more than every other person on the card or whoever they're fighting. So I don't care. So if you're Conor McGregor and you are who you are, if you're fighting and you're not the champion and they're paying you $50 million, they need to pay whoever you're fighting, if they're the champion, $50 million in $1, so $50 million in 1 cent, something, because I believe that the champions, you got to make the belt. There's more longevity in making the championships matter than there is in making people matter. I just truly believe that, because right now Conor's still drawing. He is still drawing, of course, but he's doing it in this weird way, and honestly, Conor is the one who has put the battery in the back of all of these fighters.
Right.
Who are like, I want to get paid my worth. This dude, and we appreciate him. Like Daniel Cormier was on Ariel Helwani today, giving props to Conor McGregor for affecting fighter pay. But see, this was a monster Dana White built.
But they're also missing something. What they're missing is that his performance and his pay don't necessarily go hand in hand.
Exactly.
And so you could be the pound for pound best. And all of the sport could know that. But what matters is how much pay-per-view you sell.
Yeah.
And what's the top dollar on those ticket prices that people are willing to pay.
Yeah. I mean, he John sells probably the second most pay-per-views in the promotion behind Conor, but it's a distant second.
Right.
A distant second. And John needs the right dance partner when Conor just could dance by himself and is still going to show up.
Who's the best pound for pound in boxing right now? If you're going to tell me Terrence or Errol, or it doesn't matter because they don't sell. They're not the biggest sellers.
Exactly.
Manny's still a bigger seller. Absolutely. On a pay-per-view. I know. 100%. So remember when Chocolatito was the best pound for pound?
Or arguably, yeah.
I'm just saying like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before the Wrong Vasai fight, when he was still that guy.
He was in the conversation. Yep.
Doesn't mean he wasn't getting paid more than. It still exists in boxing as it does in the guys that get the most pay-per-view, the guys that sell the most tickets at the biggest price, the guys that can inspire the most sponsorship, they get paid the most dollars.
But here's the thing. Like, I feel like they should, if I'm not trying to control what a sponsor does. Sponsor does what they want. And if Conor McGregor can earn ridiculous amounts of money from all these different places, fine. But in terms of what you are paid from the UFC, I think the champion should be guaranteed more.
Has Jon helped to hold? Bless you.
Thank you.
Has Jon helped or hurt his brand?
And so that was a question. So that was a question that came up. So because Jon accused Dana of trying to hurt his brand, and Dana said, "Hurt your brand? You do enough hurting of your brand by yourself." But here's the thing.
I do agree, though.
You can say that,
right?
But you're gonna tell me Conor ain't hurt his own brand?
It depends how you define that, because Conor was a circus always.
But do
you see what I'm saying? Like,
when you're breaking the law, you're breaking the law.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Conor's throwing dollies through windows.
Yeah, it was people 100%. And I think, but you know what? I think it did hurt his brand.
Yeah, I don't think it did.
I think it did. I think a lot. There were a lot. Listen, I think that incident made a lot of Khabib fans out of that whole incident. Of course, you're going to have your Conor fans that are just going to stick by him, but there was a point where, I think even Dana White was like, he's going to get arrested and he's going to face his.
Yeah, but Dana White also said, somebody also asked him right after that. They said, "Why do you put up with everything that Conor does?" He said, "Because he's worth it."
But doesn't he keep giving Jon chances?
I mean, I'm not saying he's.
I'm just using it in context.
No, like, he's not mistreating Jon.
Right.
I'm not saying that. And
right.
I don't know how much Jon asked for. I don't, and nobody knows. So I'm not saying like Jon has a point or anything like that. I'm saying this is what they're saying, and he's talking about hurting brands. Jon probably shouldn't have said that. Right. I don't think Jon was right in saying that. And I do think Dana White was right in saying hurting your brand, bro. You can't talk nothing about nobody hurting your brand. You do enough by yourself.
Didn't Jon like abandon a car or something?
Well, what happened was he had a car accident. He had hit a lady and obviously he didn't know the lady was pregnant because they're in the car.
Right.
And so Jon jumps out of the car with a whole bunch of cash running with cash falling on his plug, and he's running from the car. But I mean, he was battling substance abuse. So
I don't understand. I'm not judging. I'm not judging. Right, I'm just saying, like, when him and Conor should have their own show.
They should. Then they both have hurt their own brand, or they both should have hurt their own brands,
or helped it.
Yeah, but see, Jon.
How much is Jon making per fight?
Jon is not anywhere close to what Conor's making. It's not even the same ballpark. It's not even the same ballpark because Conor has a bad boy persona, which has a certain level of endearment to society. Jon Jones comes off as a pitiful waste of talent. So why
who's still the best?
Who's still the best? But
historically,
he gets far more negative press and negative comments,
right?
And asterisks next to what he does because, and I think part of it is because he popped for a steroid, and I think that's the unforgivable kind of a thing that people are dealing with. Even though, like I said before, all positive tests are not created equal. You have to understand what the deal is. But
so Jon Jones, first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about it.
Oh yeah, I mean,
okay,
you close the thing down if you're not.
Now, based on what strictly took place in the octagon, is Conor McGregor a Hall of Famer? Because if he is, then those guys that beat him are Hall of Famers.
Well, no, I can't say you can't say that. I mean,
well, some of them.
Yeah, I mean,
is Nate Diaz a Hall of Famer?
Absolutely. Well, no, honestly,
based on what took place in the octagon.
If, in my opinion, no.
Is Conor McGregor a Hall of Famer? I'm being serious, like on the body of work.
We actually should have had this as a segment, but
sorry.
I do believe that
we'll still do it on. We'll still do it on Wednesday.
You have to. Conor has to be a Hall of Famer because of his impact on the sport. He has taken the sport to an entirely different level, and from a notoriety standpoint, I mean, you can't be a guy who has literally captivated an entire country of people and said, isn't this sport cool? And you think it is because I exist. You cannot dismiss that impact. Literally, that's what he's done.
I'm just posing the questions.
Yes. So he had, regardless of, so say for instance, if there was another guy, and then he's a 2-division champion. So that in itself, it's a wrap. You're a 2-division champion in UFC in mixed martial arts because of how rare that is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
So there's a good criteria.
But he's still a little overrated. But he's still But
he's still a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
I mean, there are plenty of guys in the boxing Hall of Fame that were overrated.
The gap between him and Jon Jones,
from a talent level,
from a performance level, from an accomplishment standpoint,
right?
The only thing Jon hasn't done is go up to heavyweight and win a championship.
And he might do it.
He's probably gonna do it. I mean, the gap between him and Conor McGregor is like the Grand Canyon. Okay, so it's not even close, and Conor knows it,
right?
No matter what he says.
Sure.
So, but yes, I mean, to go over what was said here, and we're already going longer than we wanted to, but Jon questions Dana. He says the reporter asked Dana to show the text messages. Instead, he gives a 55-second response talking about why would I lie. At no point did I ever demand anything from you, Dana. I simply asked for a super fight and asked to be compensated for it.
Why did these two do this? Like, why didn't they just sit and talk?
Yeah, I don't know. He said, you're the one who started talking negotiations publicly and showing the world how much you've been withholding from your athletes this whole time. Hunter and I had a very respectful conversation. I love how you're trying to paint this picture of me being some angry guy disrespectfully demanding money and then bringing up my out of the cage affairs to justify underpaying me by tens of millions for years. You're talking all this big guy stuff about not caring. Put your money where your mouth is and release me from that contract. And he says, I'd probably make more in my first boxing match than my next 3 fights combined.
Give me Jon's number.
There's a real estate, acting, just kicking it, and being a dad. No one needs to put up with Dana's lies. And then he says, bones out. When you see me in the street, just call me JJ. I don't even know.
JJ.
I don't know what that meant.
JJ, call me.
Just call me JJ. I don't know what that
means. No, I'm telling him to call me. He wants to.
Right, exactly. He says to the light heavyweight title, Vinny Vidi Vici. I hurt myself every time I walk out there and take a punch to the head and not feel my pay is worth it anymore.
But I mean, but hasn't this always been kind of a gripe for him forever?
Nah, he's never talked about this. He's never said this. He's never
complained about money.
Never. He's never done that. Never done that. And I think he's pissed because this is like the first time he's ever like asked for something like this publicly that we know of.
Maybe it's bad timing.
I think it's the way it was shut down. I think he feels that he didn't get enough respect from Dana. And I think that's what he's talking about with this whole tough guy thing. Dana has to puff his chest out on everything. And it's going to go like this because I should be a WWE manager. You know, he has to like give that persona because that's what. Yeah, I probably did. I wanted to get in my full Dana for it. You never go full Dana, but you know, he has that. He's the type of dude that it don't matter what he's saying, he's got to say it a certain kind of way.
Right.
And sometimes whenever you do,
they seem like frenemies to me.
I mean, I believe there's an appreciation there, but I also think that Jon looks at him like you're really not in charge. You're the face.
Right.
The people at Endeavor are actually in charge.
Right.
The people at ESPN are actually in charge, which is why in the tweet that we put up, he says hashtag ESPN. He doesn't even say anything to Dana. That's like a backhanded thing. Like, dude, I'm not even talking to you because you're not even the guy who makes the decision. So, you know, it's interesting. But yeah, it's I think this is just his way to move up to heavyweight. I don't think he's like done or anything. I know the UFC is not going to release him. You want to pump life into whatever mixed martial arts promotion he lands with, let him go.
Right.
Who you can literally say, we just signed the greatest mixed martial artist that ever lived. Yeah. Right. You know, you're going to send a bunch of people to go watch wherever he lands. So they would never do that. So it's like the NBA getting upset, almost like the NBA getting upset with LeBron and saying, well, forget it. Leave. No, it's not going to happen. It's almost like, but it's funny that I made that comparison. I wasn't even thinking this, but Dana White said Jon Jones could have been the LeBron James of MMA, but he screwed it up for himself. Yeah. Well, anyway.